of those stray facts that they had, but they didn't make the connection that the one who was walking in their midst was the one about whom they were speaking. Because if you line up everything that they say on the road, they're professing the creed and they don't even know it. He was a prophet, mighty in word and deed before God and all the people. And how our chief priests and elders handed him over to be crucified. And we were hoping that he would be the one to set Israel free. And then on the third day, some women from ours, they went to the tomb expecting to find him, and they didn't see him. And then as they neared the village to which they were going, this marvelous thing happens. After this long discourse, this long catechetical lesson on the road, they near the village to which they're going, and he pretends to go on further.
Yeah, what's the significance of that? Why does he do that?
It's a marvelous little touch, a Lucan touch. It's a bit of humor that's there. He pretends to go on further. And he makes them beg his presence. And they blurt out this wonderful prayer, the prayer of the early church. Stay with us. It is evening. The day is far spent. And then in rapid fire action, he goes into the table. 22 words in the Greek text. He goes in, sits down, takes the bread, blesses it, breaks it, gives it. They're there in awe watching this whole scene. He breaks the bread and gives it to them. He disappears. Now one would think that they would go into a major crisis of depression and shock. Where did he go? How did he do this to us? But they look to each other and they say, look what just happened. Our hearts were burning within us as he opened up the scriptures to us, as he showed us the bigger picture, as he linked our lives to this big story and that big story to our lives. And what's their first reaction? Not of depression, not of suffering, not of weeping. They get on that road, they run back to Jerusalem, and as soon as they get to Jerusalem, it's the community gathered around Peter that announced to these two, he is alive, he is risen, and only then are they freed to give the Easter proclamation. They're the ones who are able to say, we encountered him on the road, we encountered him in the breaking of the bread. He is right in the middle of you, he's in your midst. And in fact, the words of the disciples on the road to Emmaus were open to failure because they were stuck in the past. It's all those things that happened. We were hoping that he was the one to set Israel free. But the very one walking in our midst is the one who lets the scales fall from our eyes, who lets the cold heart become warm, and that heart burns because we've experienced him in word and in sacrament. And when that happens to the evangelizer, he himself is convinced and therefore becomes convincing in his own proclamation, in her own proclamation. The story of the disciples of Emmaus is the primordial story. It's the original story. It's the base story for anybody who wants to be involved in the work of the first evangelization, but also the new evangelization.
That's it for this episode of The Church Alive. For the crew here at the CBC studios in downtown Toronto, for our friends at Assumption University in Windsor, Ontario, and for all of our colleagues at Salt and Light, I'm Sebastian Gomes.
And I'm Sheridan Sanders. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for much more throughout the Year of Faith. God bless.